Go. Today. Now going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have Planet Fitness stands by their decision to allow men to change in women's locker rooms, going viral again, and they're increasing the virality in terms of a lot of people are starting to boycott the company. Now, this was brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok on X Twitter, and she said, quote, "Breaking, I just received this image from Planet Fitness in Alaska. The man who is caught shaving in a woman's restroom is still entering women's private spaces. Planet Fitness stood by him. Their policies allow men to use women's locker rooms, and if you complain, you might have your membership revoked. Planet Fitness is not safe for women." Hashtag, or rather, they did tag Planet Fitness, unquote. Which again, famously, last week, you had probably someone that looks like a nice old grandma, where she was concerned there's a man in the women's locker room. I think he was shaving in front of a little girl, and again, women change in the locker room. And she reported this to management. And Planet Fitness decided to actually punish the woman reporting it. So they fired grandma, or rather, more accurately, they canceled her membership, which is almost impossible from a gym perspective. It's one of those things where it's a very sticky type of sale. Most of the revenue comes in January. Everyone signs up, and usually they make money because the people who sign up for it and pay for it, they don't cancel, they'll go there. So there's no depreciation on their equipment. It doesn't cost them a lot to facilitate your use because it's not really existent. And traditionally, when you try to cancel a membership, it's usually extremely prohibitively hard. It's such a cliche. Even Friends made fun of that theme back in the 90s. Now, it looks like you can actually cancel your Planet Fitness online, which I was actually pretty shocked, given, again, the profit margins for the industry are precarious to say the least. But you usually have to show up face-to-face and go through a whole dictionary of paperwork and yell, and it's a whole ordeal for most people. Yet another reason I'm extremely thankful to just work out at home. Now, this gentleman is, there's many things wrong with this picture. This gentleman is wearing flip-flops. So they're changing into flip-flops, which I can only think is appropriate at the beach, maybe? Maybe. Now, granted, I don't think this person they're not wearing socks. So the fashion is not, well, no, the fashion does get worse. This gentleman is also wearing a skirt, a bra, and I don't know women's apparel, but what is it, like a tank top, I believe? That's what the youth call. Though I don't think they wear them when they drive tanks, but I might have to research that another time. But nevertheless, this went viral, getting 4.7 million views in the first 24 hours and 39,000 likes, and reigniting the interest in Planet Fitness, going viral on X Twitter earlier this week. And people are starting to cancel even more and more. And from a perspective of a stockholder, they should be concerned because the stock is dropping. Now, granted, you guys have to be careful when it comes to single variable analysis. But if we look up just kind of the news around Planet Fitness to see what kind of outliers data might be there that could also be affecting their stock price. So let's pull it up on the good old stock ticker here. So their stock price has dropped around 10% since the news broke, since this controversial incident. And even before then, they're actually doing pretty good in terms of the 6 months. Now, let's kind of zoom out a little bit. Now, in the past 5 years, the stock is down 16.53%. Past 1 year, it's down negative 25.22%. Year to date, it is down 26.62%. However, getting closer to the situation, in the past 6 months, the stock did go up 19.27%. In the past month, though, it has gone down 14.75%. And in the past week, it crashed 10.88%. Granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll be different. But that kind of gives us a good baseline information to work with. Now, the 52-week low is actually $44.13 per share, the 52-week high being $84.48 per share. So $80.48 per share. So their stock that's a wide margin to say the least. And insultingly enough, if you're an investor, they only pay dividends, so there's no incentive to keep the stock. You just can sell it, someday if you make a profit. Now, it looks like, let's just pull Planet Fitness news. Let's see here. Even on Google, one of the most biased search engines ever, I usually use, truth be told, Brave, even Google is having all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top 6 results all have to deal with the controversy. Now, apparently, here are a couple websites. So one of the first ones is Pink News. Their website better be pink. We'll examine. Kind of. The word pink is pink, but I expected this website to be a throw-up of pink. Most of the color is white in terms of the screen. There's a big banner that says, let's support LGBTQ plus rights, and I believe this is, well, obviously a cultural and political website that obviously they have their opinion. And they say that Planet Fitness stands by ban on a member who took photos of trans women in locker room. So apparently, and I didn't know this when this first broke out, the individual is being identified as, was it trans man or trans woman? So it's apparently this individual identifies as that as well, which adds to the controversy and adds to the backlash as this inevitably is devolving into a political issue with people traditionally, I would say, in the middle or maybe just on the right, saying probably not appropriate to have a biological man, in a women's locker room where women and children are changing, and people on maybe the far left. I have liberal friends as well who don't agree with this, but people on the far left who say, there's no differences, this is totally acceptable, you need to embrace it. So this is a cultural and political phenomenon, and businesses a lot of them are just going crazy trying to figure out what decision is going to make the most money. Now, I think there are also a myriad of other issues. How do they get funding? Are they publicly traded? Well, there are certain scores based on being publicly traded, your policies around certain cultural initiatives that actually have whole institutions that will give you money and increase their shares in the company. They'll actually invest because of your stance and scores by some of these cultural and political institutions and ratings. So they're doing this for many reasons, I believe. Now, if you go to the comments, one of the first ones comes from Paul Zazupa saying, quote, Planet Fitness is determined to go out of business. Unbelievable. This is clearly a man changing in a women's locker room. Is this what women want? Unquote. Hashtag boycott Planet Fitness. That got 1.2 thousand likes. And again, it's one of those instances where if they're going to, I don't know, even if they lose half their sales, would they go out of business? They might, because again, the fitness industry is pretty competitive. There's a lot of concern about, all your money's made in January. If this happened in January, this company would be in a lot of trouble. Because again, that's where an overwhelming majority of their sales come from. But, it's nearly, Q1's basically done. I feel like all the sales that Planet Fitness was going to get realistically happened in the first 2 or 3 weeks of January. You'll get some throughout the year, but you're talking, 70, 80% plus in Q1. It's a fascinating phenomenon, actually, where most companies will actually make a lot of their money Q4, but fitness industry is in and of itself as partially New Year's resolutions. Now, going back to the other comments, you have Red Wave Press saying, quote, boycott Planet Fitness. If companies start becoming financially affected, they tend to abandon their woke ways. Unquote, getting 2.2 thousand likes, which, yeah, I think you can confidently say that because Bud Light lost $1.4 billion because of the Dylan Mulvaney controversy, and they dropped Dylan Mulvaney as a spokesperson or spokesman or brand ambassador, whatever you want to call it, and they've kind of gone back to their traditional marketing. Now, that's not working because they're really not addressing the elephant in the room or Dylan Mulvaney in the room, but I think they lost 30 to 50% of their sales. I don't think it's going to get much worse. So you could argue they stopped the bleeding in terms of, once April 1st comes this year, they're going to say their sales normalized because I don't suspect they'll drop even further at Bud Light. Another topic for another time, perhaps. Now, going down to other comments, you also have Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, time to bankrupt Planet Fitness, unquote, getting 5.9 thousand likes. Valentin Gomez says, quote, it is clear that Planet Fitness does not care about the well-being of women. They are part of the woke agenda. Time for the Bud Light treatment, unquote. 3 fire emojis, getting 2.1 thousand likes, which, again, I think she's very good at marketing considering she is running for political office and she is proclaimed as a MAGA enthusiast or a member of the MAGA. And again, this type of messaging is going to resonate with, I think, that political party, that political affiliation. I think those folks with that ideology very much agree that men should not be, or biological men should not be in women's locker rooms, which it'll be interesting if this becomes a huge political issue for the upcoming election or how many Americans, because again, this is a private business in this, they can do whatever they want. And the issue with the Equal Rights Amendment, where legally speaking, there's not much legal ground to stand on when it comes to men and women not using the same restroom. It's really enforced on a cultural basis in the United States. So it'll be interesting to see if that ever shifts. And we'll do 1 or 2 more comments here. I thought there'd be a couple more contrarian statements because, again, I don't want this to just be an echo chamber. And there are certainly people who actually do believe it is a good thing for Planet Fitness to be doing this. And truth be told, they'll probably get a couple of new investors because of it. Of course, the question is, will those new customers, new prospective investors, is that going to be greater than the number that you've lost? Now going down to the comment section, you have Sam saying, quote, utterly disrespectful towards all women. And there's a picture of a biological man with pink hair, and the text says, don't call me sir, I'm a woman. And the girl, we call her the trad wife because she has a traditional beautiful blouse. And she says, don't call me sis, I'm a real woman. And then the guy with the pink hair says, you can't stop me from calling you sis, that's what you are. And she says, you can't stop me from calling you sir, that's what you are. And that got 4.1 thousand likes. Let's see here. So Branos did a stock, so he actually looked at the stock, and according to his analysis, it actually dropped 13.79% since the news of this cultural, not debate, I was going to say this dynamite situation, whatever you want to describe it, PR disaster. Although, again, maybe it's going to increase their sales on the West Coast. That got 807 likes where he brought up their stock. You have Downtown Fairy saying, quote, Planet Fitness hates women. They want women's money, but don't want to keep them safe. Unquote, getting 305 likes. Sahur Majesty, or, well, if I could pronounce things. Again, I have a fascinating theory. And I'm not a doctor or, a scientist by any means, but I have a theory. If you click the subscribe button, it could help with my speaking ineptitudes and increase with my enunciation and even slowing down my pace of speech, which, thanks to the comments, I know is an issue. When I first started the show, there's basically no subscribers, and truth be told, I made a lot more errors. I stumbled over my words, spoke too fast, but as the subscriber count has increased, I've become a little bit more articulate. Some might debate it's just a modicum of improvement. However, I think it's a little bit. So if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, I'll again attempt to read this person's name called Sir Majesty, although it is S-U-H-R, and they say, quote, time to give Planet Fitness a Bud Light treatment, and quote, getting 482 likes. Ultra Mega Joy Stay says, quote, Planet Shitness, unquote, getting 305 likes, which, word pun, I appreciate. Let's see here. Thomas Sewell, oh, not really him, it's a parody account, but it says, new logo launching today, just kidding, don't sue me. As it says, instead of Planet Fitness, it says Planet P-word, which, try to make this moderately family friendly. I can mean anything these days, so I'll clarify it as the male genitalia. They got 196 likes. Jcash Mega Queen, orange emoji, says, quote, everyone needs to stop using Planet Fitness now, getting 738 likes. Wally World says, quote, it's not trans rights, it's pervert rights they're supporting, and getting 684 likes, which, again, I can't help but suspect, I think, long-term, the decision is going to either be go back to default, or because of legal legislation or cultural shift, maybe there's a situation where you have 3 separate restrooms. Now, very similar to the sports issue, that actually would be perhaps not successful in terms of that's not what the people on the far left are arguing for. They're arguing that there's no differences at all, which they wouldn't be happy with having 3 separate restrooms because that in and of itself would admit that there's that other category. So, but from a legal and cultural perspective, I think that might be an option. I mean, let me know in the comments. I'd be fascinated here. And as I say, they're a publicly traded company. We'll see all their news on how their fiscal quarter is going, where the sales looking like, and it'll be interesting. Anecdotally speaking, I think I've been to Planet Fitness once or twice. It's rudimentary at best in terms of a gym. I say that because if you actually work out and try to push yourself, they don't like that. I can't help but have a theory that they just want you to be lazy and inept and not lose weight to be a member forever. I say this because if you want to lift and you make any noise at all, they actually have an alarm. I forget what they call it, little stupid thing. They have an alarm. You can't make any noise when you lift. Which, again, I'm not saying you have to be bombastic and scream all over, but you're going to make a fair amount of noise. You might grunt a little bit. And same thing with running. You can't run too fast. It's almost like they don't want you to push yourself. And they also give you away free junk food like once or twice a month or something like that. So, I mean, personally speaking, I would never go there. But let me know, would you ever go back to a Planet Fitness? I mean, they released a public statement. They are behind this decision. I don't see them changing it anytime soon. And again, there are investors or prospective clients who might sign up to the gym because of this policy. I have a theory that, especially short term, that number is lesser than the amount of sales that they will be losing because of this boycott. Again, this is the second time in 2 weeks that it's been trending on X Twitter. So let me know in the comments, when's the last time you've actually been to Planet Fitness? Are you a fan in general? And because of this, would you ever go back, or are you canceling your memberships? Cliche to say, but as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.